Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Hopefully everybody can hear me. It's just past 12:30, so we want to be able to start on time. Thanks, everyone, for joining this Lunch and Learn. And I appreciate you joining on Zoom today. We won't keep folks past the 45-minute mark. Really delighted to be able to chat with everybody today. Our financial services customers have been longstanding customers of Doxim. It's one of the verticals that we're most proud of. And we're very proud today to begin to share with you the fruits of probably about 14 to 18 months of R&D labor, which is the launch that happened a few weeks ago of our new Doxim CCM platform. So I'm Mike Hennessy. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer at Doxim, and I'm joined today by Gum, who is our Senior Sales Engineer, and Gum and I will be walking you through some of the high-level information on the platform. We're going to actually give you a sneak peek or a demo of the platform itself. And if we have time, folks can ask questions in the chat, and we'll try to get to those as much as we can. So without any further ado, we can get started. So today we're going to be chatting. I'm going to start with some info on industry trends. So as I mentioned, Doxim has made a major investment over the last couple of years in our customer communications management platform. So for us, that means it's a software-first platform application that is designed to help, in particular, regulated customers, in particular, financial services customers, be able to communicate in a modern way with their stakeholders across the channels that they prefer that communication to be. So for us, that means sometimes it's a print channel, but more and more it's a print channel and other channels or other channels. And those channels can include digital applications like email. They can include SMS and text messages. They can include accessible variances on the email. They can include HTML. A bunch of different ways that the modern financial services customer feels that they should be able to communicate with their banking or credit union institution. So we're going to talk a little bit about what's driving that. We're going to chat a little bit about how folks can benefit from a single platform like the Doxim CCM platform. And as I said, Gum's going to be able to walk folks through an actual live demonstration. So why did we do this? Why did we make this major investment and spend close to 2 years both acquiring and building this new CCM application that you're going to see? So for us, we've, interestingly enough, for customers that have been with us for a long time, our founder, Chris Rasmussen, actually founded Doxim on the premise that digitization was a reality, and many of our core platform capabilities, like our ECM, are centered around that notion. And that's continued to evolve over the years, but it's really accelerated in the last 3 to 5 years. And as folks can know, as we sit here in the middle of a pandemic, really accelerated in the last 8 to 12 months. So for us, it was all about 3 elements: business value. And by business value, we sat down and thought as a business, how can we drive more value to our financial services customers? And that really means helping them communicate better with their end customers. So as I mentioned before, more and more of those communications are in a digital format in some way, shape, or form. And customers want choice. They want to be able to get certain documents printed and mailed to them in certain scenarios, but they also, in many ways, want quick and easy digital access to information on their phone or on their laptop. And as I said, the last kind of 12 months has only accelerated that. And for us, the ability to deploy that in a SaaS solution was critical as well. So the ability to quickly augment the platform, deliver it in a rapid way, and do it in such a way that the customer can take advantage of it without having to make major internal investments of their own IT infrastructure and staff. Next slide, Gum. So what are the kind of the forces other than that multi-channel SaaS first driver that everyone's noticing? So for us, we're seeing digital growth accelerate. We're seeing print either level off or slightly decline. And to give you some context, we feel we have a good insight into this. We now have 2,000 customers, 1,000 direct and about 1,000 through channel partners. So we like to think in particular in the financial services vertical that we can offer kind of a benchmark of where in particular community-based financial institutions, both credit unions and banks, are going. And with that comes a trend towards outsourcing. So what we're finding is a lot of customers are looking at the function of how they communicate, whether it's print or digital or both, and realizing that that's not really their core business, i.e. not their core business to focus on how that communication factory or platform works, and they're better off from a financial perspective as well as just from a growth perspective to be able to keep up with the change, because change is happening rapidly. Doxim, as most folks know, is an acquisitive business on the product side, but we also have close to 80 engineers that are working in both North America and offshore that are devoted entirely to our CCM platform now. So I think if one is comparing that to the internal abilities that many of our customers have, the reality that outsourcing is the best path is becoming apparent to a lot of folks. Next slide. So our point of view, as I mentioned maybe at the beginning, is we want to help you guys better engage with your customers and do it in a regulated fashion, right? So financial services customers are our primary customers at Doxim. We also have healthcare customers and utilities customers, and they share one thing in common, and that is all of those industries are regulated. So communicating is done in a certain way and has certain requirements associated to it. So that's always been our focus as a business. And we want to help you guys do that across all of your channels, not just your ink on paper channel, but your digital channels as well, and allow you to do things like have a better experience, increase revenue per customer, and reduce costs. And we really believe that that digital transformation that we've been talking about for 3 to 5 years is now, and it's been accelerated exceptionally fast in the last 8 to 12 months. So while we couldn't have predicted what's happened in the last 8 months, we've actually had some really good timing in terms of the CCM platform being available now. The other thing I think that's really driven our focus on the development that you're about to see in the platform is that we believe that static repositories of information like CRM platforms are interesting in terms of having repositories of customer information and using them to maybe communicate. But when you have a regulated requirement to be able to communicate with folks, it's not only an obligation, but it's also an opportunity. So we feel like CCM has the opportunity to be the de facto system of record for customer experience in the modern area, at least when it comes to regulated customers. It allows them to use something that is has to happen from a regulatory facet, but also allow it to become advantageous to both the consumer and the organization in terms of growth and retention and all that good stuff. So I think without any further ado, I will pass things over to Gum. Hopefully that gives folks some context in terms of some of the things that are driving this investment, and we're really proud to show you the platform and look forward to chatting with you about it today and in the future. Gum?
Thanks, Mike. So the Doxim CCM solution is a centralized platform, and it allows our clients to create, manage, control, and track the communications, both from a regulated documents perspective as well as from a messaging perspective that they send to their customers. And so the platform approach ensures that the handling and processing of the source data we receive from our client systems is streamlined and optimized for creating the various output formats that are required for the different communications channels that your customers may prefer. And so what you see here are a number of fundamental components of the Doxim CCM platform. And it all begins with data. That is data in any format from any source. And we are able to receive that data we're able to receive that data that's typically held in a variety of systems within our clients' organizations, from core processing systems or record-keeping systems to CRMs, and that data and any data that may be held with a third party. And so oftentimes, the Doxim CCM is the sort of first convergence of customer data in some cases for our clients. because our clients see value in that data and in value in using that data to drive their customer communications. And so, of course, the fact that the confidential data, that this confidential customer data is being handled, all of the regulatory requirements for compliance, certifications, and security are architected and built right into the platform. And as well, all of the service sides of the platform are built to be resilient and scalable. And so once this data is in hand, it's audited, validated, parsed, and processed in order to create the core regulated content that needs to appear in these essential business communications that you're sending out to your customers. And at this point, we open up content management and authoring tools within the Doxim CCM portal to allow our clients' business users the ability to directly manage components of these business communications in order to add informational pieces or marketing pieces or value add content to the documents and to the messages that are going out to customers. These communications are then composed and formatted to allow for the presentation and delivery of those communications through digital and print channels, and as well as being optimized for those channels as seen in built-in accessibility compliance features for digital communications, as well as mobile responsiveness. The Doxim CCM platform is intended to ensure that our clients can effectively deliver these essential business communications to their customers in a choreographed manner so that they can fulfill their omni-channel communication strategies and they're able to drive customer engagement and improve the overall customer experience. And a final component of the platform is the analytics and reporting module that provides our clients with a view into the creation and production of their customer communications, but also a view into how their customers are interacting with the digital business documents and messages that are being delivered to them. And so it's with this piece, as Mike had just mentioned, this allows our clients to view the Doxim CCM solution as potentially that de facto system of record for customer experience. And so as I move on to the next slide here, this sort of is a graphic depiction of the features and solutions that are available on the CCM platform. But ultimately, all of these features and solutions exist to support the three different types of communications that may potentially be delivered out to customers across the customer lifecycle. And so those are the regulated documents of statements and notices and confirms and tax slips, as well as the digital business messages that generally accompany the regulated documents, but in other cases are messages that are tied to business activity, tied to potentially account changes, tied to things like payments being made or payments that have been received. And so these two types of communications are those regulated compliance communications. And then there's marketing messaging, which is supported by an email marketing tool that's built into the CCM platform, but as well, it's supported by the fact that we've opened up real estate, opened up zones within the regulated business documents, as well as these digital business messages. We've opened up zones in there for our clients' business users and marketing teams to be able to convey their marketing message. And so, as you can see here, it's, these are the types of communications that we can support through the Doxim CCM platform that are delivered in highly personalized ways through the various channels that customers are opting to be communicated through, as well as through what we call the web channel, which is our customer experience portal. That essentially is the microsite that we can deploy on behalf of our clients that's customer facing in order to present these regulated documents and messages to that customer. And then ultimately the Doxim CCM portal is that administrative portal that we open up in order to allow our clients, business users, and administrators to have access to these tools in order to support the delivery of these communication types across the customer lifecycle. And so as we delve into things a little bit further, we can see here with regulated business documents, it really is tied to understanding the formats in which you are sending out these regulated business documents to your customers, and then understanding how best to leverage the capabilities of those formats. So with every implementation of a client's regulated business documents onto the Doxim CCM platform, we'll go through a redesign stage where we look at those documents and look for areas where we can enhance those documents as a means for our clients to better deliver their message to their customers. And so that may take the form of inserts within a printed document, within the realm of digital documents. There is special considerations tied to the delivery of HTML documents because of the potential associated with HTML to make that experience a lot more engaging for a customer. And I'll jump into that as we move into the demo. Within the realm of digital business messaging, there is as I'd mentioned, that is all tied to sending out digital messages either through email, through SMS, or maybe even through integrations with your IVR systems in order to deliver those sort of key touch points that inform your customers about business activity or business transactions that may be occurring with their accounts. And so this sets a cadence of communications with your customers beyond simply those monthly or quarterly statements that you may be sending out to them. And it really makes the connections with your customers a lot more intimate because those digital messages are oftentimes going straight to their smartphone. And those smartphones, as we all recognize, are the device of choice for customers to engage with the digital world. And so part and parcel to this digital business messaging service is not only the ability to obviously deliver those messages, but also a CSR center, which allows your teams to track those messages, to understand when they're being created, when they're being delivered, and then ultimately when your customer is actually engaging with those messages, whether it's simply opening it and reviewing it or actually clicking through on links that may exist within those messages. All of that is being tracked within the CSR center of the digital business message service. And on top of which, because these are considered to be, essential business messages, we are also archiving those messages. So there is a true snapshot of the contents of that message that are being sent out to those customers so that you always have clear line of sight into what those messages were that were being sent to customers and how those customers had engaged with them. And so at this point, I am just going to jump right into the portal and give you a tour of the Doxim CCM site. And so what you see here is the login page for the Doxim CCM portal. And this is, as I mentioned, our client's gateway into the Doxim CCM platform. And so this portal has been built to allow our clients with the access to better control their communications that they're sending out to their customers. And so the first page that's presented to our clients' business users and administrators is a dashboard that gives them a quick snapshot into their digital adoption, their customers' digital adoption of statements. And so there's the metric associated with number of digital statements that were sent out compared to that of the number of printed documents that were created and sent out. And if we're managing the enrollment process, which we can also do through the Doxim CCM platform, if we're managing the enrollment process for your customers who are opting to move to e-statements, we can also report on that on a summary basis as well as across a rolling 12-month period. And then on the left-hand side, you will see here that there's different modules essentially associated with all of the different elements of communications that are being sent out to your customers. And so from a print perspective, there's the ability to manage the inserts or the images the value add images and marketing images that may be placed on those regulated business documents from an email, or sorry, from a messaging perspective. We are also able to provide you with access to the templates associated with the digital messaging service. And so you can do things, your business users can do things like come in and manage the key areas of the message that goes out to your customers. And so it is as simple as accessing images that have been approved by your marketing team and that have been loaded into the asset manager of the Doxim CCM platform, and as simple as typing your message directly into the template. So in this case, if we're looking to promote a new auto loan product, then it's as simple as doing that and clicking save, and with the next round of statements that come through, this message with the updated marketing content will be in play. As we move through to what we call the customer experience portal, this is, again, that customer-facing portal that we can deploy on behalf of our clients in order for their customers to access their digital documents. This is, on the right-hand side, the actual customer-facing portal. And upon logging in, or in some cases, upon single sign-on through from an existing customer portal that our clients may have, a customer is presented with an interface that is completely mobile responsive, that has been tagged with the accessibility features to allow for assistive technology devices to navigate the site, to allow for those who can't use a mouse to navigate the site, to allow for font manipulation for those that require it. This site can be completely customized to our client's brand in terms of color, in terms of font, in terms of logoing. But the key here in all of this is that this site can act as an extension of your existing customer portal. And then from here, you can see that there's homepage text that is completely controllable through the Doxim CCM portal here on the left-hand side, so that you can do things like, your marketing team can do things like present the most current campaign tied to an auto loan product. They can do that directly without actually engaging an IT team or engaging a web services team. They can make those changes directly and have it impact this interface directly for your customers. Within the realm of regulated business documents, obviously there is the ability to present PDF statements, which has been the sort of standard for regulated business documents. And as you can see here, there's the onserting capability that I'd mentioned that's available through the Doxim CCM portal on the left-hand side here, in terms of being able to, having your team be able to add onserts and various marketing campaigns directly to these statements that are sent out to your customers. And so, and in addition to PDF statements, we can also deploy HTML statements, which we believe is the future of these kinds of regulated business documents, simply because HTML, it creates that very seamless, frictionless experience for customers as they move through to access these documents and better understand what their accounts and what the business activity is looking like with their accounts. And again, with HTML, it's completely mobile responsive, and out of the box is completely compliant to accessibility legislation that may be in play. And so really the value of this, of HTML statements, is fairly evident on a large screen such as my laptop, but it is actually extremely compelling once you start looking at it from a mobile phone perspective, which is actually which again is the sort of gateway for many of your customers into the digital world. So what I have here is my smartphone, cast it on screen, and I have received a statement notification via SMS through our digital business messaging service of the CCM platform. And the customer experience, once they click through, is to potentially land on a login page of your existing customer portal. And upon entering and entering the microsite that we have that we can deploy on your behalf, you can see here that that mobile phone view is very streamlined. And as you move through to member statements, and as you move through to looking at HTML statements, you realize that the HTML view is that much more compelling once you look at it from a mobile phone perspective. And so when we deploy HTML statements, we will work with clients in order to understand their needs tied to statements, but also guide them with respect to a mobile-first approach for designing an HTML statement. And so suddenly you realize that it's very important to ensure that all account summaries are as close to the top of the statement as possible in order to ensure that they appear within the first screen of a mobile phone, because there's nothing worse than having to scroll through screens and screens of content in order to find what you're looking for. So simple things like being able to tuck content away, that becomes very useful. And making sure that that content, in this case, help information, is available if somebody does need it, but not everybody will need it. So it's good to be able to tuck that away. And then as you move through the statement, you can see very clearly how leveraging the capabilities of HTML and its interactivity is very useful. And also being able to embed things like video into a statement makes it that much more compelling for customers, because certainly you can start adding value to the statement for a customer by including content that may be more current or more pertinent to that customer beyond simply looking at a historic snapshot of their accounts. And then of course you can also build in images that allow for click-throughs to additional promos that you may have on your side. And so as you move through this, the sort of logical breakdown of the statements into the different accounts becomes very important. As you can imagine, trying to scroll through all of the transactions tied to all of the different accounts tied to a customer can be frustrating, especially now since there isn't that sort of page-bound margin associated with the statement. And so clicking through and being able to quickly find exactly what they're looking for makes the experience that much more compelling for the customer, and definitely enhances the experience for the customer, so that suddenly the statement experience is frictionless and seamless and integrates very well with any sort of additional digital assets that you may have already and that you may have present within your other online customer portals. So it makes it truly a seamless experience for that customer. And so at this point, I believe, Mike, I'm going to hand back to you just so that we can close off the session.
Sure. Thanks, Gum.
With questions if needed.
Yes. So as folks, hopefully, as you can see, a lot of work has gone into the last couple of years of integrating businesses that we've acquired, but also building organically on the software side. And it's really centered around allowing you as the clients to be able to leverage the data that's so important, so you can make those interactions with your customers and achieve those business results. Next slide, go. So for us, that means, some of the things that we talked about on the digital side. So out of the box HTML, device responsive communications, accessible communications, AODA, accessible communications, the ability to start sending SMS and text messages as part of that communication plan. And then the ability to continue to deliver world-class print communications, because as we know, that's kind of not going away. It's changing a little bit, but it's not going away. And then still being able to have that vertical expertise. And by that, I mean, Doxim understands the core banking platforms that many of you are integrated into, is able to compose complex data sets and then funnel that through all these channels that Gum has mentioned. Next slide. And I think that, we've tried to, I'm gonna give my email address out after this and would be eager to get some feedback. But in terms of a packaging methodology, we tried to make things as simple and comprehensive for folks. So as you can see on the far left-hand side, if folks are just interested in kind of ink on paper PDF to print, the Doxim is extremely well-versed in doing that across North America and now into the UK, and able to do that from a compliance oriented perspective, all those things that you need around SOC 1 and SOC 2 and FSMA and all those designations that are necessary. But if your organization is moving towards the right side of the spectrum and you're starting to understand the importance of digitization, as we talked about, there's opportunities for you. And what I like about the way we package this is it allows folks to take advantage of the complete solution, either the experience package or the engage package, and not have to necessarily take advantage of all of the features in one phase. So you might be able to have an interest in going live on the new platform, take advantage of all the portal's capabilities, and want to make sure that your statements were HTML compatible and device responsive as a step one. And you might go to email or SMS, one-way SMS in the customer portal as step two. And then you might want to migrate into having that two-way communication later down the road, or implementing all of your statements as AODA compatible. So I think the message here hopefully is that you can do that with the Doxim platform, and you can grow into it with any of those two packages that are on the right-hand side. And your account manager would be eager to chat with you about the pricing models that we've deployed. So our methodology or our approach for this new Doxim CCM platform is to have a single fee that is based on consumption and assumptions. So for example, if you're a credit union, it's based on how many members you might have on a monthly basis. If you're a banking institution, it might be on the number of customers or the assets, and that will give you, within reason, unlimited access to the platform, unlimited access to the number of communication channels that you use, and allows that flexibility. Because our goal, and we've just added a new consulting capability to the overall platform capabilities to help folks with things like print suppression and other customer experience benefits. So hopefully with this new platform, the combination of technology and innovative pricing model, and then the wherewithal or the know-how to be able to help you achieve your business outcomes, you'll view Doxim perhaps more than ever as a true partner as you guys work through the obvious changes that are happening in your business over the last few years, and in particular over the last 12 months. So want to definitely thank Gum for taking us through that harbor tour of the platform. As you can see, it's quite comprehensive. We want to give folks access to all of it with each of the packages that you saw there. With lots of folks on standby that would love to chat with you about it. I can be reached at Mike Hennessy, or M Hennessy, excuse me, at Doxim.com. Or you can write in at info@doxim.com, or you can reach out to your account manager. We'd love to take you through a more in-depth demo, start to talk about some of the packages and get your feedback on what you think, because as I said, it's kind of the culmination of a couple of years of work on our side, and we're very proud of it and eager to start having our customers take advantage of it. So thanks Angie and the team, and thanks Gum, and thanks all of you for joining today, and hope you enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, and hope to chat with you again on a future Lunch and Learn. Thank you.